Good evening, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Late Night Live number 143. What's going on? Just assembled. What up, Steve? Whoop whoop. Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening, or day, or morning, or whatever time it is for you. Oh, it's good to be home. I've been away for a little bit. Is it less beard? No, there's still beard. What's going on, Marilyn? This is approximately the length that I've been keeping it for a while now. Anytime it's more than this, it's because I'm just shaggy and I haven't shaved in a while. Alright, today we are catching up on our Sig Slingin' Sunday attempts, which this week's, not gonna lie, has me a little nervous. What also has me a little nervous, what's going on, Ojo Swinny, is this nib. I may have gone a little too far the other day when I was sharpening it. It is a very, very, very sharp. Turn this down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, potentially it's scary sharp. But feels great, but I've been working on primarily like lowercase letters and simple capitals, so when we get into some of these flourishes today, we're might be up for a bit of a challenge. Oof. Hopefully it wasn't extra fine, Marilyn, so it wasn't too bad of a stab. Yeah, some of these hairlines might get into disappearing territory. What's going on, Annie? Welcome. Alright. And field responsive today. This will be fun, hopefully. Hopefully. Oh, before I get going too much. Right. Get this guy spinning back here. Oh, there's dust. Get it spinning. Sweet. Away it goes. Hello, Calligraphia. Welcome. Yes, I have been increasing the difficulty level. I wasn't gonna do this one until a little bit later, but because I missed a couple weeks and I love this signature, I just figured, let's dive in, we're going for it. So this week's is probably one of the most difficult ones, basically one of the most difficult ones I've designed, I think. Into the signatures. I still have to do the Kathleen Ann Foley one. I didn't have time to post that one before I went out of town. Steve, to sharpen a nib, there's many ways you can do it. I personally use an Arkansas stone, like so, just a stone to do the rough shaping. And then I use I believe it's 12,000 grit piece of micro mesh. Those are just the two pieces that I use when I'm sharpening. So shaping, and then smoothing and burnishing and whatnot with those two. Just to fine-tune the point a little bit. Because I want my hairlines to be as thin as they possibly can be. And as an example, I want to make this an actual sort of Instagram post one of these days. But after I sharpen this one, there was a neat example of, so this nib is, in my opinion, about as sharp as I could possibly get it without it being borderline impossible to write with. And then comes in the hand. There's what this nib would regularly look like, and then what this nib sort of should look like. Like if I wrote this just sort of normally, something like that. But then this nib, if I use a very, very light hand, these hairlines should that's what they should look like. So you can see even just in the same nib, how you write. This is the goal. This is what this nib is capable of. And a fun little trick, if you ever want to know what a nib is capable of, specifically to a dip pen nib, it would work for some fountain pens as well. But if you hold the tail of your pen, so you're not applying any pressure, you hold the tail and you just sort of drop the nib on the table and do, well, let me get some ink, and then just do some sort of like, just let it move around. That will show you those lines. Those are what my hairline should look like, or could look like if I'm using proper technique. So if I do that, and then when I'm writing, my hairlines, for example, if they look like this, like see those lines are thicker than these ones, that means I'm applying unnecessary pressure. So my grip can be lightened so that my hairlines look, when I'm writing, look as fine as those squiggle lines. Yeah, that's it's my favorite trick for if I want to know if I'm light enough or not, or if my grip is correct. If I do that, if I write holding the very tail of my nib without pressing down, this is the challenge. This is giving me what my hairlines could/should look like. So that's what I have to work to be able to do. And this nib is about as fine as I can get without the nib turning impossible to write with, or the hairlines just being completely invisible, which this one is already borderline. We're getting close. But what I love the most about it is the contrast you get when you do things like that. When you get that, like, little shades in certain letters. Get just those little pieces of shade, which look so pretty. Looks like a magic wand straight from Harry Potter. That's the goal. Hopefully, I mean, I can see it in the video, so I guess it is showing up on video, which is nice. I was nervous that these hairlines would be invisible on camera today, but they seem to be okay. This is what most of my writing since I got home has been, this kind of practice. Oh, hush, Diego. Annie tells me she can see clearly, so I don't believe you, Diego. What's going on? I just love the exit strokes. They just fine, and I don't actually know where it ends. It tapers invisibly. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Can I do signature writing and complicated flourishing with a nib this sharp? Risk. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out. And we will find out tonight. What are you up to this evening, Diego? So my writing, this type of writing, you have to be careful when it comes to like reproduction work. It all depends on how it's being reproduced. If I was doing something that needed to be vectorized, or was going to be like this shirt, for example, then I wouldn't. I mean, I could lay out a base design with this nib, but I would have to digitize it and thicken the hairlines and things like that. That's sort of. It was said that that's one of the reasons Madaraz used to write with such a fine, with so fine as well, was he didn't want people to replicate his stuff. So he would make it basically incopyable. Hard to photo engrave his stuff because it's hard to reproduce. Diego has an old soul. Grandpa's bedtime. I personally really love when styles like this, like business penmanship and whatnot, are written with a super flexible but super fine dip pen like this, because you see those tiny little, like on these O's, the little slight, like I didn't intentionally add an accent shade on the top. That just comes from the movement when the line is so fine. But those little hints of shades, I love. Obviously, I love a big ornamental penmanship shade as well. But I find more and more these days, it's the subtle little, it's the little things, the subtlety of some writing. I really like. Like specifically lately, I've been all about that little bead on the end of a W. Just this tiny little one. When I go through like the iAmpath archive or things like that, it definitely feels like those are they're the things that draw my attention the most. Like obviously D's and T's are shaded, that's standard, but it's the little the tiny little bits that you see like at the end of an S, the little thing there, or the W, or you see it a very small shade sometimes on the back of the O, or on well, a good example here, because it was unnecessary, it was unintentional. I don't know if you can see in that E, just a very very slight bit of shade on the back of that E. I love it. It makes me very happy. And doing shades that fine, well, it's impossible without an extremely fine pen and extremely light hand. So I love this combination. And it makes me, when my pen writes like this, is pretty much the only time that I enjoy sitting and just doing lowercase letters over and over and over again. Because it's the way it looks the best or the prettiest for me. Yup. Fountain pens upside down are a great way to get an extremely fine line. I don't remember if I showed a nib that I don't feel like it's finished being ground yet, but it's a fountain pen nib, but I ground it myself. The hairline is nothing compared to the dip pen that I'm using today, but I don't remember if I've showed this on stream. I think I might have. It's one of my fake Chinese Pilot Parallels. And, oh, does it not have ink? It should have ink. My paper towel. What? I was writing with this yesterday. I don't think that's exceptionally fine. It's not normally this fine. This is because it dried out and now it's just coming back to life. So it definitely is. I wish it was I wish it looked like that all the time, but it does not. There, that's a bit more. That's more of what it looks like all the time. But I ground it myself. Hello, Lori. Good evening. And it's pretty smooth and it feels pretty good. I'm happy with it. I've never ground a fountain pen nib before. Quite happy with the result. Lene, do you mean my volume or the music volume? My volume? Annie, this is Mahjong A2 it's a Chinese knockoff of Pilot Parallel, and then I custom ground the nib to be a little bit finer today. I can turn myself a little bit louder. Does that sound better? Realized the music was quiet today. I don't know why it'd be any different. Feels like it's always different. Weird. Well, that's why I specifically modified this pen, because the risk isn't crazy, because it's very cheap. Not a whole lot of yeah, you're not ruining $100 or a really expensive pen. If you mess up. This one's, is it running out of ink? It might be running out of ink. Yeah, vanishing points are very expensive. I think it has Mont Blanc cool gray in it right now. Which adds a little bit to the fine look because it's not a super, super dark black ink. I think it's got Mont Blanc cool gray in it. Maybe. But I'm very happy with it. Put that back over here. All right, back to our task at hand. Sweet. I'm nervous if I go in and try to change a Windows setting on my microphone. What happened a few sessions ago will happen again, where my entire computer decides to just sort of crash on me. Whoops. Turn to the right? Do I? I think that might be the angle of the camera. Like right now, my nib is perfectly flat to the page from right above, but it looks like it's slightly crooked. The camera is not right above the page. Let me get the nib out or the pen out again. I do, Marilyn. I only use nibs that are like crazy fine. Yeah, so if I go, this is perfectly vertical. Does that seem vertical? I think the camera angle might make it look like it's leaning a little bit more this way. But, if I was leaning too much, I don't think it would actually write very smooth or good. So it is, when I'm writing, it's usually quite flat or vertical to the page. Yeah, I wish I could get, if the camera was right above, the problem is when I sort of lean in, my forehead gets in the way of this, of the view, and it can be a bit of a mess. So the camera has to be, I try to make it look like it's not at an angle, but the camera is at a little bit of an angle. It's curious, I don't know why it would be quieter. My mic is right here. Just, you can see there's the guard right out of frame, which is as close as it's ever been to my face. I mean, I can bring, maybe I'm farther away from the camera today. No, this is about normal. My computer might have changed something. It has a mind of its own. Yep. Watermen were my, that's what I mainly collected. I was into fountain pens before I got into penmanship and calligraphy and everything. And Watermen were my main collections. My issue with vintage fountain pens, be it maybe Todd's, the old Swans, the Watermans, Moores, any in my old collection, it it's sort of one of those, with the vintage stuff, you don't usually get it ground finer. It feels like sacrilegious to modify a vintage gold nib, but none of, and literally none of the old Waterman pens, even like artist nib, you name it, none of them get as fine as I really want. So I have had, I think, 2 of my old vintage pens ground to be 2. Yeah, I think 2 ground to have a finer nib. But I don't use them very often. Just if I do, it's primarily for writing like this. I don't really shade very much with my old fountain pens, even my Flexi Watermans and whatnot. Just because the angle is off, it doesn't feel right for flexing. So primarily I'll get little shades like the top of the T and the top of the D and stuff like that. But with capitals, I don't really do ornamental penmanship capital shades and whatnot with a fountain pen, because it just doesn't feel right. All right. This is what happens when I go away for 2 weeks. My music changes, which is weird. That my music shouldn't change when all I did was unplug everything and plug it back in when I got home. Steve, the sometimes wet, sometimes dry. You're supposed to grind on an Arkansas stone, wet. You with like, I don't use oil, but usually just spit or a little bit of water. But if I'm being 100% honest, I often do it just dry, which is against the rules, but it works. So I can't say that you shouldn't do it, because so far, there's never been an issue with me doing it that way. On the fine grit, I will sometimes dip it in water, but the tip is so fine, usually that is gone in a second anyways. So dry or wet. If you're doing something really, really fine, pressure-wise really fine, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Maybe YouTube changed something. Maybe it's not my settings. Here we go. This is our design that we're tackling today. Oofty. This might be the end of me, folks. Alright. But before I dive into this one, this is something we've been talking about doing. I forgot to set an alarm. I'm gonna run an ad. And then I'm gonna set a reminder to run ads every so often. I'm gonna run an ad. I don't know if you guys will see it, or you might not, but here we go. Ad. I don't know if anybody saw an ad. How often should ads run if we know they're coming? Like every 15 minutes? Is that a decent amount of time for ads? No ad. Why not? Once an hour? That's only 3 ads for a whole stream. That's not enough, Marilyn. We gotta do more than once an hour. Well, if people don't want to deal with ads, then they don't have to be here. If people don't want to deal with watching a 2-minute ad, well, I'm here for hours every week. A couple seconds for an ad isn't that big of a deal, I don't think. I don't think. Oh, ground for a lefty. Yeah, that'll do it if it doesn't match, if it's not good for your personal grip. Okay, we're gonna dive into this signature here, which this is not an official breakdown, but let me just, I haven't ever tried to write this signature before, so we're gonna see how this works. You could do your advertisement for YouTube Premium, Lene. We have our R. That's easy. Well, not easy, but nothing tricky. From there, we have to make sure we go far enough to the right that we can fit Richard inside, and then under. So that's easy. That's our first. That's one whole stroke. Then we have Richard. Now at this point, I feel like, and I could change this after I try to write it, but my initial thought is to finish this lowercase d and go and stop right here. That's my first thought. Is to go to there and stop right there. Then come over here. No, then I would probably come right here and do this stroke of the R into the V, connecting ideally with that, and then I'll probably do that little loop slow. Alternatively, if I wanted to be the smoothest ever, I would go from this R into the V, into here, and connect with that lowercase d. But that's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna make that connection. And I can't go from the D into the V and do that backwards. That'll feel too weird. So I feel like this is my natural stopping point, and then I can do that little loop to ideally connect it later. And then with this, I feel like I want this to go this way. I could do it this way. If I was gonna do it this way, I would write it, I would make that 1, 2, third stroke start up here, and then go into that R. But if it feels better this way, I won't know till I write it. Then I'll come and do it afterwards and write that. My nose is itchy. Why is my nose itchy? I feel like one of my mustache hairs is going rogue on me. You're correct, it would be quite a flex. It'd be darn impressive to make that connection. What is going on with my nose? Okay, then from there, pretty simple after that. I-E-R, we just finish around there. No like extra shades or anything like that in this whole design. Could have easily done like a shade up here, this in here could have had a shade. Any of these little in through here could have been shaded, down here could have been shaded. But I remember experimenting with those when I designed this one. Right? Nasal spray ad incoming. True. It's weird. I honestly think one of my mustache hairs is just like going up the wrong direction and it's being stubborn. It's not like a allergy type thing. It feels like there's legitimately like hair somewhere. Rogue nose hair or mustache hair. I have to get like mustache wax. It's come to that, where I have to start actually styling my mustache and getting this little bit to go. I don't know if I wanted to like, I don't know if I want a whole circle or if I just want just like out to the side. Almost like straighter, just a little curve at the bottom. But yeah, I gotta get some wax to start training it and styling it for fun. Maybe I'll try to figure that out for next week. Okay. Boy, what do we do? Do we just dive in? First, we'll map it out. See how it feels. Something like that? Did I follow the right pattern? Oh, no shade there. But that's the right pattern. I'm not super worried about form and everything right now. Just making sure I know how the whole thing just sort of goes together. Alright, now I said we do this capital of lowercase d. We cut to right there. Yeah. We stop about there. this one's the one that has to go straight into the V, right? And then make that little loop in there so that looks smooth. Went way too big on the end of the V. And we add that little thing. Ooh, that actually might feel better going this way. We'll play around with that in a sec. Then we go veer. And where's this ending going? Here, 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 and there. Whew. Oof. Okay, so there's our very first pass. Super rough figuring out this signature. There's a lot going on in this one, but I'm excited. Try to round it out and smooth it out. Cilantro yay, cilantro nay. The interesting thing about cilantro, I recently learned, it's not something that we could take like a proper poll on, because some people think it tastes like soap to some people, and some people it doesn't. But it's not, those two people aren't tasting the same thing. There are some people that legitimately, just chemically, cilantro tastes like soap. It's not just like some people like soap tasting food and some people don't. It's the cilantro they taste is different because their tongues taste it different. Or something. It's just like, I also learned, what is it, Brussels sprouts? People my age, most of us didn't like Brussels sprouts as a kid. And we blame it on now, like, I make Brussels sprouts all the time now, but we blame it on our parents and how it was prepared and whatnot, and they were gross. But Brussels sprouts have been changed. They've been sort of evolved to taste different now. So the Brussels sprouts that I now make and like, even if, like, my mom prepared Brussels sprouts back in the day the same as I do now, they wouldn't taste like the ones I make now. They're apparently completely different. Yeah, I think Brussels sprouts when we were kids were just not as good, straight up. Even, it had nothing to do with the way I mean, it could have had something to do. I think boiled Brussels sprouts aren't very good anyways, and that's how they were often prepared. But, alright, I need my reference here so I don't get lost. Okay. Try to clean this up a little bit now. Is this supposed... Oh, yes. I got nervous. I cut this short because I didn't want to cross over, but it's supposed to actually go up through there. Okay, that's good to know. Well, yeah, they would have been modified. Yes, not evolved. That's the wrong word. You are correct. Okay. Then we go around. Circular. Like that. Now let's try doing this one. Where does it come here? above the lowercase d. Swoop. Swoop. And okay. We'll see. Still on the fence about which way I want to do this stroke. Ooh, I don't know. I don't like that stroke either way. Oof. I forgot what I was supposed to be aiming for in there. Well, it's a start. This stroke is gonna drive me nuts. Which is easier? I genuinely can't decide. Oh, that's the wrong stroke. That's not right. Getting the squiggle is easier if I start with the squiggle. If I start without the squiggle, it ends up just being a bit of a hook and not an actual squiggle. I think that way's gonna be better. Doing it reversed. Maybe. Maybe. I used to be, I guess you could call it a tomato snob. I didn't like tomatoes when I was a kid. At all. But I do now. Cherry tomatoes all day. Shush. What changed for me? No, so when it comes to liking tomatoes, it was my desire to not insult somebody or to not be rude. I lived in Japan, and I was working in an archaeological dig site digging up artifacts of essentially the Japanese Indians, the native Ainu, in northern Hokkaido. And an older lady that I worked with during our break, or no, in the morning, she brought me a bag of tomatoes from her garden as a gift, little cherry tomatoes. And I said thank you and everything. And then we worked, and then during our first tea break, she asked, like, where are the tomatoes? Bring them out. Let's eat them. And then I had to just sort of, okay, and I got the tomatoes, and of course everybody was watching me, so everybody and myself ate the tomatoes. So I forced myself to eat the tomatoes and to be thankful that she brought me tomatoes, and now I love tomatoes. Because I got my desire to not insult somebody. Hello, Fozzie. Okay, how are we gonna do this stroke here? Is that how I want to do it? That was okay. Yeah, this one's very squiggly. Oh, where am I going? I forgot already. Okay, not bad. It's gonna be hard to get this one looking like really clean, but as far as the signature wise, it's not super like impossible challenging. Everything kind of flows relatively nicely. For me, it's just getting the shape right. Making everything very angular and not sort of smooth and flowy. I keep, because this one, the second R goes around here and under, I keep starting the first R sort of the same, wanting it to be short, rather than taking it up here like it's supposed to. Whoops. Alright. Dry off that ink so I can turn my paper around, so I don't have to write at the bottom of the page. You're probably right, Fozzie. You are probably right. Okay. Okay, we need round forms. Round. I'm not yet paying attention to where the lowercase letters are supposed to meet the flourishes. I don't care right now. We'll figure that out later. That one still feels very strange. Well, that could have gone a lot worse. I did. All the Sig-Slinging Sundays for this series, or this series so far, were ones that I designed for blotters and whatnot. So this is one of my own designs that was never, they've never been written. They've only been designed. I don't know which way I like doing that. Oops, forgot where I was going. Alright. New level of masochism. It came up in conversation. We figured, I mean, I had that binder of designs, so, and since I've never written any of them, some of them aren't really, they were never designed to be written. They were just designed to be designed, basically. Figured I want to learn to write the way I design, so this is the way to do it, I suppose. Alright, I need to... make this wider. Oh. And then we want to thread both of those. Okay. How many practice sessions? Well, I guess, Steve, it's very different when I'm doing something on a blotter, because it's not like this. It doesn't have to be written all in one shot. When I do things for a blotter, it is with pencil, and I spend, like a design like this, specifically, most of the designs take, I would say, around like a few hours, usually. They can be done faster than that, but usually I take minimum of around close to 3 hours to get a design looking and shaped sort of exactly the way I want it to be. And then once it's done, so this is the original, or this is a copy of the original design, that is then transferred onto some clear mylar that I can foil over top of. So I'm essentially just tracing this line. So I don't do any practice sessions. I design the signature, I overlay the design on the gold foil, and then I just do it. Writing is very different, but none of the signatures that I put on blotters were written, so they don't have like a practice session that goes with them, really. I'm having a tough time getting this R looking smooth today. Too low. Ugh. What's my favorite? Oof. This one is among one of my favorite signatures that I've designed in a while. But I feel like I've designed too many to pick a favorite. Oh, my favorite part of teaching penmanship? I don't know. I think my favorite part about teaching penmanship, and sort of teaching in general, is if I can teach something in such a way that a student has like call it an aha moment, that moment of like, oh, this didn't make sense before, but something unlocked, something clicked, this makes sense now, I can do this, whether I'm good at it or not, it's sort of the understanding of, oh, I get what I'm trying to do now. Those sort of like little milestone, or those moments, I use a lot of analogies and stuff like that when I teach, because my goal is to put something out there that makes the student or the person learning think about what they're doing in a slightly different way that might change the way they think about what they're doing. Because as humans, people, we're bad at getting into like a habit, and we'll think about something like a habitual way. And it's always going to be that way unless we can sort of trick ourselves to think about it different, and then sort of subconsciously it might feel different. And then it's sort of like, not a shortcut is the wrong term, but like a new path can sort of open up, where you're doing essentially the same thing, but your brain and your body interpret it different, and for some reason it works. It's like in a dance style that I teach, which is locking. The funk and the style of locking, I feel like, is borderline impossible to teach. It's something that lives in the dancer. So as a teacher, my job is to teach the techniques and the foundations of it, and then to try somehow have the class or the student get to a point where they're either enjoying themselves so much where for a second they'll stop thinking about the technique and what they're doing, and something of that funk or soul or whatever you want to call it will come out, even if just for a second. And then we try to embrace that and make that grow. So it's just different ways of thinking about and doing essentially the same thing. But analogies are very much my favorite, and it's definitely a major part of how I teach, and has been for always. Also, what I teach is really hard. So it's fun to teach. I enjoy teaching things that are hard, because those aha moments, especially in the beginning, are so much more noticeable, because you go from zero to this like, whoa, something happened. Versus if I'm teaching something that I find easier, or if people find it easier, there are aha moments, but they're not as noticeable. They don't feel like as much of a win as chipping away at something that's really difficult. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's our 30 minutes. We're gonna do an ad. If you get ads. Hiya! Ad inserted. I really wish it told me. It just says ad inserted. It doesn't tell me anything about the ad. Let's change this. 30 minutes goes by really quickly. That counts, Fuzzy. I like that you've become a gymnastics and a dance mom. Okay, we need to still smooth out this art. The shade doesn't feel good. My nib might be a little too... fine. Nope, not smooth enough. Oh, that's exciting. Congratulations, Ian. way the R is done in this signature, the little loop on top is quite high. So if I'm going up to like here, the little loop should technically be like up here. It's higher than the entry. So all this is very high up on the letter, which is not how I naturally write them. Well, because Fozzie took my movement, the art of movement writing class, where I use a metronome and all that jazz. I teach, I have a class that's basically like, I teach it like a dance class, but it's a penmanship class. It's Fozzie's favorite class ever. What's going on, Jen? Jen is a dancer, dance teacher, dance studio owner, so she very much fits into that category. Ooh, Jenny! I like that. How to make these R's. Look the way I want. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, the YouTube review things are good. I had to review your usage of the word twerk, Ojaswini. Oh, the rowing class? Yeah, but the teacher in that rowing class, and this is, I feel like, it has to be many rowing classes. The teacher was offbeat, which was really annoying. I didn't set that. That's just YouTube deemed that as a word. Or just when I allowed it, but it got flagged. I didn't tell it to flag twerking. I should. This is true. If Jen tries to get me to do something, the trying just will likely make me not do it even more. Oof. I don't think I've ever taught any of the traditional time steps, ever. I don't think they've ever lived in a combo or in a class of mine, ever. Not even once. Okay, that's getting better. Getting that shade just doesn't want to be smooth. That's better. sheet of paper. Today we're using Rhodia ice paper. I thought that said ice when I brought it down here. Lined, where does it say ice? It says ice somewhere here, doesn't it? What? Am I crazy? I could have sworn this pad said ice somewhere. Is that just what they call it on the website? Doesn't actually say ice anywhere on it? Well, there we go. There it is. I think stores call it ice, and it is currently my favorite. Also because the lines are gray, which I really like. That's the main reason I like it. That shade just doesn't come out nice. Ooh, I did that very wrong. Darn it, we were doing good. Whoops. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do technically call it ice lined paper. I could have sworn it was on the actual pad. It's somewhere, but I've never used Midori pads before. I have no experience with them. All right, now let's figure out. Okay, now we get into the trickiness. So you see here, I have my initial oval is going through this little oval. In the final design, it's this line that has to go through there. And this little line basically stops down here. So this has to come up way closer to the R. Okay. Yeah, because then the I lives in that little space between those two on its own. The C and the H are here, but ideally this line goes through the H. The A is threaded by that little one. R's on its own, and D's right before the N. Okay. Woo. That's tricky. If we get precise with it. Okay, so that entry. That's because my designs are so much more circular. It's weird to write them like that. For me. to remember that the ending of the V, yeah, the ending of the V, my R has to come just as far below the baseline as the V. That's tricky too. Whoever designed these signatures is very specific. Maybe it says ice just in black light. That's possible. Too slow. It feels so very strange. All circles. Okay. Good day, sir. How's it going, David? Not wireless, no. These are... Well, these are not vintage, I guess, but they're based on the vintage COS Porta Pros. And then I got these from China. I'll do a show and tell real quick. But they're essentially COS Porta Pros. My vintage pair are around here somewhere. Basically, COS designed the Porta Pros in the 80s, and they were deemed like perfect, and then they never changed the design, and the design is the exact same still today. But with these ones, what I did, so they're not wireless, they have a wire, but they're a wired headphone when you buy them, and then I took them apart and I soldered in these little connectors so that I can use, I don't remember, MCMX, I can't remember the name of the connectors. So I can get these, so I can swap those if I want to. I can swap cables if I want to. I like it for streaming because if I'm just listening, I can have both plugged in. Like there's the other, I could plug in both right and left. But I only listen out of one ear when I'm streaming anyways, so I only have the one cable. COS Porta Pros. This design is a doozy. That's exciting. No, I mean, I got a haircut a few weeks ago, I guess. It's not long, it's short, it's relatively cut close to haircut-ish time. It's not shaggy. People are just used to me with a hat, I think. So the hair throws people off. And I'm still torn on how I want this design to work. Or this stroke. I don't know how I want to write it yet. I think that way. Yeah. Those are not very good ovals. Oops. Oh, focus. Sorry, thank you. Done. What's going on, Skeet? No need to apologize. We're just working on this week's Sig Slingin' Sunday signature, and it is a doozy. Well, I'm about to give up making these R's look good today. The longest I've had my hair? About yay? Shoulder-ish. Back in like 2012, I think, approximately around that time. I had super long hair. My hand does not want to pull a nice tapered shade today. This is one of those moments where I could cheat, turn my paper this way, use a little bit of hinge movement, but I don't want to do that. You don't think shoulder width is long? I mean, for me who has very short hair now, and has most of my life I had short hair, long hair down past my shoulders was quite long. True. Wow, blow your... Okay, well, yeah. That's very long. That's very, very long. I ended up cutting it when it got to the length where my hair is naturally or was quite wavy. And when it got to the point that the length was heavy enough that it started pulling out the wave, basically, my wave wasn't strong enough to stay wavy. So the top from like the center part down to like here was just straight, and then it would sort of wave out, and I didn't like the way it looked. So that's when I cut it. No, I didn't put anything on my head when I was asleep. Or you're talking to Skeet. That's true. Do you keep it in a ponytail? Or in a bun? Or do you have like a beanie? A sleep beanie? Or hat? A bonnet? Back pocket. I mean, that's pretty long. That's plenty long if you ask me. I can't do this shade like I design it. The way I do it in the design, the shade is so short but big down here. I can only do those kind of shades when I go slow. Oy, oy, oy. "22-year-old dread." Wow, wow. Yeah, that's what I want the shade to look like. But I can't. Well, I don't want to say can't. I need to figure out how to do that with fluidity. Having it in the center, I can do, like for a V, or for a U, or a Y. I don't remember having issues with my hair my hair wasn't that long, but I never put it in anything when I slept. I thought about it once, but it was never like a thing. It was never in my way. But again, my hair wasn't super long. That's what we want. Just a little pop. Quick press. I miss when my hair was curly. Well, wavy. It used to be really wavy. Now, even if when I don't fully grow it out, but when I let it go too long between haircuts, it's not really wavy anymore. It grows boring now. Okay, those are looking better. Progress, progress, progress. That's probably one of the best ones so far today. Right there. That little guy. The rest of the R is whatever, but that's the right stem shade we want, I think, or close. Yeah, I'd have to do curly hair things. Exercises is the wrong word, but product and scrunching and all that stuff, I imagine. "30 minutes. Ad coming in right now. See you guys in a second." The ads are really short. I think they're different for everybody, and some people don't see them at all. I wish there was a thing, like I could click the button and it would do like a specific amount of time worth of ad. Well, you have YouTube Premium, don't you, Lene? I thought. Well, I guess if my stream is quiet, then the ads must be loud today. I don't know why my stream would be quiet. That doesn't make sense to me. Oops. Okay, ours looking a bit better. I say that and then I do a crummy shade. What time is it for you, Fozzie? I don't remember what time it is for everybody. Oops. $130. Okay. So that's the same as Hong Kong, right? I think. People from everywhere. We are indeed a global group. Circles. Whoops. Circle. $1:30 a.m. Late night for you. Thank you for staying up late. Yeah, this whole as I was doing this bit, I was like, ooh, that's just a cool, like, just looks great. That was blown up huge and framed. That would look cool. Very modern art. Snaps happen. I need to make that shirt one of these days. Although I turned from doing more circular to ovals. The whole point of that was to be doing circles. What is my rate? I don't really know. You mean, like, I've never designed a shirt for somebody else, so I'm not sure. I don't know a rate because I just design shirts for myself, basically. Like this one, except today this one I didn't realize is so big. This is a large. It is massive. Like, it's a huge shirt. Huge on me. I thought it was a medium. It's a new one. And the package said medium, but it definitely had a large inside. Which is kind of annoying, because large is too big for me. I put it on. Wow, this medium is massive. Company during insomnia, excuse me. There we go. That works. Message me on Instagram or on the Discord, Lene, and we can chat. I have many t-shirt concepts for my own store and whatnot that I have to design. I'm very behind. This signature is going to be very satisfying when I nail it. Eventually. I do think if I film it, I'm going to have to get a nib that's not quite this sharp. This one is digging in a little bit on my shades. Oh, I gotta remember, this one doesn't have a shade there. Whoops. Maybe I'll do some of those on blank paper. Just random squiggles and nib snaps, oval drills. I don't want to write. I don't feel like writing on the bottom of pages today. Mug design. Does Oja Swinney design mugs? I did not know this. No poll required. I've never designed a mug. Nope. Michael Saul has some designed mugs, but I've never done a mug. I could, I guess. What happened with that? Far from perfect, but a passable full run-through-ish. Very roomy. We got all we can write anywhere. The world is your oyster at the top of the page. Yeah, this just has to drop down lower so that it's farther away from this. Those have been too close together on most of them, and these are too far apart. They need to come in, and they need to go out. Okay. Observations. Also, where I'm dropping that is no good. That has to be dropped like here. Enzo mug. What? I don't know what that is. Oh, on my tea mug. Yeah, I got this as a gift for painting or helping a friend paint a banner for the Sundance Film Festival. This one. That has that circle and that circle. Cold tea. Yeah, not my design. I have never designed a mug. I'm pretty sure I could, with Printful, where my t-shirts get made, I could put any of my designs on mugs. I could make a Slacker table mug. Maybe I should do that. But I don't know if the Printful mugs are as big. I like this mug because it's nice and big. No more tea. Ooh, that'd be fun. If I teach there again, well, I suppose that's entirely up to you. The world of traveling teaching hasn't come back that quickly from COVID, unfortunately. But To be expected, I suppose. That's the best run of the whole thing so far. It's very wispy. Yeah, airfare has gotten troublesome. Where are you again, Lene? It's been a slow build, but let's look at the where's the first one? From where we started today. There's our first attempt. Pretty all over the place. Slow build, but it's coming. US in the West. Got you. Yeah, because I don't do a lot of online stuff. I haven't been doing very much teaching at all, which feels weird. Oh, this has to go high enough that it cuts through that little hole. So this has to be as high as this, approximately, close to it. Okay. This can't go far that way. This has to go, well, again, circular, that's the problem. It has to go here, short, but high. And then somehow, I need space for this line to fit in here without crossing this line. How? It's quite a dance to do it exactly like it's designed. I don't know if I'll ever get it all the connections exactly where they're designed to go, but keep chipping away at it. You're very right, Fozzie. I have nobody to blame but myself. I mean, these are the other ones that, if I keep this series going, other ones that I would like to tackle. Is this one that I did for Joshua Morgan, which is quite fun, but has some tipped-in shades that will need to be done afterwards. Like this J all the way into the lowercase o is just all one stroke, which is crazy. Getting this parallel line is going to be really difficult. I mean, both of these shades don't work, so they have to be added later. Those both work. That one can be done. It's weird cutting that off so soon. That one can be done on the fly, but hard controlling those short compound curve shades. Yeah, it's a neat one. True. Designing it would be no problem at all. It's just the writing it that's hard. Designing it is fun. And then this one for Mike McCrudgington I want to do as well. For UK Mike, this one's pretty chill though, as far as design wise. This shade has to be done afterwards, unless you want to try to do this stroke like this and connect to the N and do this shade afterwards, but that's, I think, trickier. This way makes the most sense, I think. Add this shade as you're going and add this shade afterwards. But that's a fun one. Yeah, those are the next ones that I want to do if I keep this series going, which I haven't been the best at getting them done yet. Getting all the signatures written, so I don't know if I'll keep it going. That's time to say, yeah, hello UK Mike on the replay. Also, take this moment, shout out to the lurkers. What's going on, lurkers? Lurkers and replay watchers. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having fun watching me slowly figure out this signature. Hours of trying to do the same thing over and over again, better each time. That wasn't very round at all. Lurkers and laters. Ooh, I like that. Shout out to the lurkers and the laters. See, it's another t-shirt. Lurkers and laters. But what do you guys then? If there are lurkers, there are laters. What are the chatters? Can't be chatters. Does it have to start with an L to make it work? Or is it livers? Nowers? Lurkers, laters, livers? I mean, the lurkers are live, but they're lurking. I kind of feel like it needs to start with an L. Lurkers, laters, livers? I can't think of any other L words at the moment. Quaciouses. Ooh, it's a mouthful. Oh, I have a new favorite TV show. I should tell Fozzie I need to tell you about it, but anybody else, it's here as well. So many people know Jimmy Carr's 8 out of 10 cats. And then there's also the British TV show Countdown, which is about anagrams and number solving and whatnot. The 8 out of 10 cats does Countdown is unreal good. I've decided that there is nothing better on the planet, entertainment, television-wise, than British comedians bantering. I could listen to British comedians banter all day long, non-stop. They're the absolute best. I just discovered I've known about 8 out of 10 cats, but 8 out of 10 cats does Countdown it's my favorite. Because unlike shows, which I also love, like QI and Would I Lie to You and Taskmaster and many of the other ones, they don't stop the banter. The banter just keeps going. And it just is crazy witty. But it's like when something ridiculous happens, they just let it continue to be ridiculous. Nobody really goes, okay guys, there's no Sandy Toksvig or saying we gotta get back on track or keep the show going, or there's no Taskmaster going to the next task. If there's good banter, they just let it happen, which is unreal. It's so good. Yeah, British comedian wit has become by far my favorite thing in the world. Entertainment wise. Whoa, too slow. I'm not smooth coming out of these. Yeah. Agreed, Fozzie. It's neat I love on the panel shows how they have the regulars who are always on the show. Like QI has it. I guess Taskmaster doesn't really, aside from the hosts. Carrot in a box. I've never heard of that. Good juju. I will watch Carrot in a Box, or I will look that up. there's, I would update that. Another best run through. It's very airy. It's not, now we need the precision. The signature itself is there. It might be good. It might be eaten by a bunny. Sweet. I will have to look up carrot in a box, because that sounds fun. Okay, where are my issues here now? Things are crossing where they're supposed to. This is a wonky oval, but all the crosses are where they're supposed to be. These are matching up where I could draw in that little loop if I wanted to. This goes down low enough, but it has to go up. Oh, because it goes all the way between the I and the E, but it has to go all the way up to the top to match the R. That's what I'm missing. Okay. To match the R. Which means this can go higher, higher, higher. Which will make this easy so this doesn't have to be quite so abrupt to get that compound curve to have that cross in the middle. Works. This signature is a doozy. I will watch Bake Off one of these days. I haven't watched Bake Off yet, but I'll watch it one day, because I imagine there's quite a bit of fun banter on there as well. When my favorites are on it. Ooh, I went down too low there. Whoops. Oh well. Something like that. Emily in Paris. I have not watched that yet. Lily, that's Lily Collins, right? Ooh, ginger shortbread. Why am I writing this so small? Too small. It's coming out relatively smooth. It's still messy, but it's not feeling like pulling teeth. It's not feeling as nearly as refined as I want it to yet, but it's definitely coming. Much better than the first attempts. Much. Much. I don't think it's quite good enough to film in slow motion yet. I'm hoping to film this one, or parts of it at least, in slow motion for Super Slow Thursday, because I haven't done one of those in a while. Too far. Oh, have I been spelling it wrong? No, V-I-E-R. Yes. Oh, splitting. Yeah, I definitely have not been doing that any of the times that I've done it yet. Good catch. You are correct. I got really wobbly. That one split, but it got really wobbly. I have to drop that lower so it crosses through there and down here. Yeah. I appreciate the reminder. It's one that even in this design, it doesn't use, like the Richard doesn't use this variation of the R, it uses this one. But I habitually just sort of, I chuck it in here and there because I really like the way it looks. Back up the page. Looks like a fallen soldier. It's just such a cool R. I love that variation. Or that one for an ending R, but I rarely use this one when I'm writing lowercase letters now. Just because this one comes out so quick. I am a fan. Too slow. I don't have any fluidity there. Maybe I need to do the whole thing bigger. Bigger doesn't feel good with my forearm on the ground or on the table. Oh. Way too big. If I was gonna do it that big, I'd have to do whole arm. And my whole arm is not trying at the moment. Go back to small. Small. Sounds good, Fuzzy. I appreciate it. Oh, why did I shave that? There's no shade there. Have a good one, Fozzie. Be sure to tell Ian congratulations for me. I mean, it is part of why I do it, is to get over being nervous and get over the people scrutinizing and whatnot. Becomes just part of the process. Never, I don't think, in the history of doing these streams has my best writing come out on camera when I'm here. If I turn the stream off and write something, it's almost inevitably gonna be nicer looking than what I write on camera, but that's why I write on camera, to try to make that not the case. Oh yeah, whoops, this has to go over there. That's definitely the weirdest stroke of the whole thing for me, this one. Getting the hang of the little squiggle coming out of it, though, I think. This R shade is still quite an issue. That's awesome. Well done, Japan. Doing things right over there. That's great. Slow horses? I've never heard of slow horses. I haven't been watching a lot of TV recently. Pretty much just British panel shows on YouTube is about it for me. Why is it so hard to make things circular? Blah. It doesn't feel like it should be a challenge. Just to make something round. I don't know if I'm getting worse or better. My understanding is getting better. But my brain is thinking about all the details now. One more at the bottom of this page. Round. Just make it round. how to do a circle. You've done thousands of circles. Why did I do that so tiny? So small. We're getting messier and messier, I think. The understanding is getting better and better, but I think my arm's getting tired. Worn out for the day. It almost feels like I've been drinking coffee. My arms feel stressed. British Spy Series. Ooh. I'll have to look into it. Rejects who get the job done. I mean, that's all that really matters when you're a spy. And I love Gary Oldman, so that's fun. Sweet. Well, everybody, I do think I'm going to call it a night there. My arm is fighting me a little bit. Ooh. I think I need to take a breather and attack this again with a clear arm and clear mind. But again, that's what we're going for. That is the goal. Right on cue, Oja Swinney. Well done. Yeah, we can get it. I gotta go through and figure out which one of... Definitely some passable runs at it today. It's really the circle thing. I gotta figure out how to turn on and off writing in ovals and then writing things more circular when I want to. That's important. But just because I need a clear conscience. No. Yeah, just my arm's fighting me. Or my arm doesn't feel... It doesn't feel warmed up, which is annoying. I've been writing for hours and it should feel warmed up, but it's fighting me today. A little bit, it feels like. But that's normal, that happens. Maybe trying too hard, maybe that's what it is. Trying too hard to get this correct. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna call it a night there. Thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out with me today. I hope you had a good time. Please, if you are trying this signature, if you give this a shot, give it a post, tag it Slick Singing Sunday so I can see it, and so everybody else who's following the challenge can see it as well. Make sure you are falling in love with this process, and don't forget that life should be just a bit of silliness, really. Bye-bye, everybody. See you next week. And stream.